Hello, my name is Monica Miranda Smalls, and I served as the 2011 president for the Association of Fraternity Sorority Advisors, and serve at the University of Rochester as the director of Fraternity and Sorority Affairs. For the webinar today, I will be joined by Kelly Jo Carnes, 2010 AFA president, and the associate director for the Center for Student Involvement and Leadership at the University of Iowa, and also Shelley Brown-Dobeck, 2012 AFA president, and Director of Chapter Services and Associate Director of Greek Life at North Carolina State University. The webinar today is the program that was presented twice at the annual meeting. For those that were not able to attend the annual meeting or attend the session, we felt it was important for all members to have access to the same information. So we have created this webinar to share with you association updates. Although with the style of this webinar, we are unable to take immediate questions, we will include contact information at the end so that we can continue to engage in dialogue and answer any questions that you may have after listening to the webinar. And now I'll hand it over to Kelly Jo Carnes to get us started.
As you are all aware, at the 2010 annual meeting in Phoenix, Arizona, we launched a new 3-year strategic plan that will take us from 2011 to 2013. We have had an extremely busy year as it relates to the strategic plan, of which we will cover most of today. So just to recap, with the launch of the new strategic plan, this included 4 main things that you will see on this slide. You can also find a copy of this strategic plan in its full form at www.afa1976.org. The new strategic plan included a revised mission for the association, which states, AFA enhances its members' ability to foster impactful fraternity sorority experiences. The 2011-2013 plan also included a new vision for the association, which states, AFA is the catalytic force in aligning the fraternity sorority experience with the changing dynamics and enduring principles of higher education. This is a new vision for the association and one that we think aligns us directly with higher education. As we look at our ongoing work, the areas of focus for the association will be on these 5 bullet points: programs and meetings, publications, membership recruitment and retention, resource management, and efficient operations. You will hear today about our work in this final area of efficient operations. Finally, these are the 4 strategic goal areas that the Executive Board, Central Office staff, and volunteers focused our efforts on in 2011. We have achieved success in all 4 goal areas with much focus on governance and the infrastructure of the association. I'm going to turn it over to Monica Miranda Smalls to talk about our work in that last goal area this year.
As Kelly Jo shared, our strategic plan is quite ambitious. When we launched it this time last year, we had 4 staff members at the central office, an executive director, 2 directors, and an administrative projects coordinator. 4 staff members to implement and coordinate the operations of the association and all the added initiatives we had created as part of the new strategic plan. We realized that, well, that might not be sufficient for us to actually move to the next stage. So when thinking critically about the strategic plan, particularly in the area of governance and infrastructure, we did realize fairly quickly that we had reached a plateau in the capacity of our central office staff structure. If we were going to be the association that would serve as the catalytic force in aligning the fraternity sorority experience with the changing dynamics and enduring principles of higher education, we were going to need to increase our staffing capacity. We were going to need to set the association up for transformational change. Recognizing the limitations of the staffing structure was realization number 1. We then began to plan our next steps to fill the positions that were either immediate or anticipated vacancies. And then we realized we needed to push the pause button. With the unplanned departure of the Director of Member Services and the Administrative Projects Coordinator, it provided us an opportunity to step back and truly think about what would be best for the association. First thing we did was decide that we weren't going to continue to do what we've always done. We dared to dream about the possibilities. We were setting the foundation for transformational change of our association. Instead of proceeding with the hiring of a full new staff, we pushed the pause button and decided to explore our options further while implementing the short-term solution of an interim executive director and outsourced association management services with the Association of College Unions International. We then had the opportunity to decide to participate in an exploration of an association management company with the Fraternity Executives Association and the Association for Fraternal Leadership and Values. So we pressed pause and began the conversation to figure out what our next steps would be. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to Shelley.
So as we moved forward, we really needed to rethink what our options might be and how we might think differently about staffing our central office. Again, we had been approached by FEA and AFLV to explore the Fraternal Association Management Company. As an interim solution, we were partnering with the Sister Higher Ed Association and really wanted to consider how that might impact our staffing. And third, we wanted to look at what would it look like and could we revise job descriptions, restaff our central office, and move forward with that. Let's talk a little bit about the Association Management Company, what it is and really what it's not. The AMC is putting together a team of specialists to work on projects, and it allows them to kind of eliminate this idea of the jack of all trades, because instead of hiring one person to manage volunteers, to manage member services, to edit your publications, and to update your website, you're hiring part-time for all of those different things and getting more specialists into those positions. The board also saw a huge win in looking at an association management company in that we would start overseeing a contract instead of managing personnel and really getting the board out of the business of managing packages for staff or compensation or leave policy, and really allowing us to be more strategic in our thinking. So looking at how that applied to the idea of a fraternal association management company, the idea was the three groups would come together with equal partnership in owning that, but not a merger of those associations. Instead, we would each contract for full services for no less than 3 years to give the group a time to get off the ground and make sure that we could be functioning fully before evaluating moving further. It was also important that we built in certain protections as we considered that. Each of the partners would have equal voice on the board of directors for the Fraternal Association Management Company, and that board would be separate from the association boards that manage the associations. The organization structure in terms of our volunteer structure and our board structure would remain the same with the FMAC. It would allow each of our associations to really benefit from economies of scale. And what we mean by that is that when we went out to purchase contracts for site visits, instead of doing one annual meeting a year, we could partner with AFLV and FEA to look at doing all of our conferences under one contract and get better pricing, which would in turn be able to do better services for you, our members. It would also give us the opportunity for a larger, more specialized staff and allowing, as relevant, for that staff to have more expertise within the fraternal movement. We also really considered the idea of continuing to outsource with the Sister Higher Ed Association. Again, this would not involve a merger of the associations, but would look at a partnership for 3 years and a contract to provide full services to our association. Again, our organizational structure would remain the same in terms of being a volunteer-driven and our board structure. It would allow for smooth transition and would also allow us access to a high-performing, established staff that would be expanded to meet our needs. Third idea was, could we recreate a model of an independent central office staff? We would have to renew the lease on our office space. We would post and rehire all positions, beginning with our executive director, and then allowing him or her to have input on the rest of the staff. The benefit of this model would be that we would retain our greatest independent identity, and there would be the greatest board input into the staffing model and personnel management. All of this led us into what we're calling transition plan number 5 at this point. The independent central office is not being considered. Looking at what we are able to afford to hire, there's just no way that we felt that we could move off of that plateau with that independent central office model. FEA has decided to no longer consider participating in the Fraternal Association Management Company. The AFA board did approve the creation of the FAMC with AFLV. Our interim executive director is on contract through June 1st, so Sue will continue to be at the central office, and our fabulous team from ACUI is on limited contract through June 30. So as we work through the next phases of putting together the AMC, know that we still have staff in place to make sure that you are getting your member needs. Our transition work to the new AMC will begin by March. The team is already working to make plans through January and February to get together and iron out some details. But we will begin hiring, bidding the scope of work, and really putting that company moving forward, we're hoping, by March time. We hope to be fully transitioned to the AMC no later than July 1st.
With any transition, there's sure to be some bumps in the road. So I hope you enjoy that little comic there. It really has been a bump in the road. We had 2 websites up simultaneously. We had a database that listed members' affiliations incorrectly, and a few projects were stalled. We also have had some challenges with the transition of the websites and resources that have not made it over from one site to the other, yet we are still working on that. What someone may have not found online a week ago may have already been added, so continue to go to the website often. Additionally, if there's something you are looking for that you do not find on the website, please contact the central office, and the staff will do their best to still provide you with the document you seek, as they should still have access to it. It is helpful for us to hear from members about things that you're not finding, things that you need, so that we can continue to ensure that resources needed are up on the site. In spite of the challenges we have faced this year, we still have been very productive. When you have an opportunity to review the end-of-year report, which was included in the association update that was emailed out to members yesterday, you'll see we have still been able to continue to provide resources, education, and significant professional development. While most of our work, as Kelly Jo mentioned, has been within the governance and infrastructure goal area, there are 3 initiatives we would like to highlight today. One is the membership restructure proposal that the regional directors worked very hard on, along with our vice president for membership. Clearly, the thorough review of our staffing model was also a significant focus this year. We feel that is a significant achievement in that it was a complete revisioning of how we might handle the operations of the association. Finally, our new virtual classroom that has been generously funded by a grant from Zeta Tau Alpha. On January 26th, this program will launch, and the best part of it is that it is free to all AFA members. It is a significant effort to provide continual education and enhance the level of professional development of our members throughout the year. Operationally, we are excited to have over 1,400 members. Although it is down 2% with the delay and associated challenges we had during our member renewal process and the continued difficult economy, we are pleased with the minimal decrease. Our annual meeting was the largest ever, with a final total of 1,149 participants, with almost 3 times as many programs submitted as were able to be accepted. In spite of that, we still had over 100 programs at this year's annual meeting. Our publications continue, and our general resource development and programs, particularly those at regional conferences, continue to go on as well.
So now it's time to focus on getting back to business. I'm sure most of you are aware or have seen before this idea of aligning what's urgent and what's important. And I think one of the challenges we have is that everything feels kind of urgent and important at the same time. But as we look at those key deliverables and look at the survey of loyalty that you all helped us complete in 2010, which informed our strategic plan, you really helped us to identify what those deliverables are that as members you most value. We know that the annual meeting is a key component to your learning and your networking experience, and so know that we will be making sure that we have the proper resources in place so that planning for that deliverable can continue. Advance U, that grant from Zeta, we have been so fortunate to receive. We are launching that in January. Invite you to participate and invite your colleagues to do so as well. And really look forward to putting out that new deliverable. The member categories, as Monica just said, will be voted on shortly. We are also going to be updating a full review of our bylaws this spring. We had some feedback from the Nominations and Elections Committee that really opened up some great ideas to us, and so thank you for those of you that send your comments and questions to the board. Know that we do receive those and move forward with those suggestions. And that has updated our NEC process as well. That will be a focus this summer, making sure that we have staff support to move that. We'll spend a lot of time focusing on staff transitions and, again, trying to make sure that your membership experience is as seamless as possible during that time. We will also be developing a new membership campaign and outreach strategy. We have not done so in several years, and so as we look at our membership numbers, we feel that it's time to put more effort into that as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this presentation. We know that because this isn't live, we don't have the opportunity to answer your questions or to engage in dialogue, but we do hope that you will follow up with any questions, comments, feedback that you have. Monica's email is on the screen, and please feel free to reach out. Know that we want to be as transparent as possible with you